Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making a Leches cake that is predominantly coconut flavored. So I have a 9x13 Pyrex dish and I'm going to lightly grease and flour this entire dish. This is going to cause the cake not to stick to the sides of the pan and we get a clean release. Now, don't make the same mistake that I did. I was in a rush, so I didn't feel like getting butter or lard or shortening to grease the bottom of this pan. And the cake did end up sticking a little bit, but it's okay because it's covered in whipped cream and it is a soft cake, so you're not really looking for anything too structural. And now we have a flour mixture. So we got 1 cup worth of flour, we got a pinch of salt, and we have a tablespoon and a half of baking powder. And we're going to sift those together into a separate bowl. And in the bowl of the stand mixer, I cracked 5 eggs, and I'm going to be separating the yolks out from the whites. The reason that we're doing this is because the yolks are going to act as our fat in this recipe, and it's going to help break down the sugar, and the whites are going to add a lot of structure to the cake itself once we whip them and create a meringue with medium peaks. So in the bowl of a stand mixer, 5 egg whites, and we're going to whip those until they're just starting to puff up. You'll see in a couple seconds what I mean. They're not going to be at their stiff peaks just yet, but they're getting there. So what you want to do is you really want to whisk the egg yolks and sugar vigorously. That was 3/4 of a cup of sugar. And we're going to add into that, once that sugar is dissolved somewhat, about 1.5 teaspoons worth of vanilla extract. And to that, we're also going to add 1/3 cup of milk. This is going to loosen up the egg yolks and allow for a smoother texture once we add that flour mixture into the egg yolks. So once you add that flour mixture in, you're going to want to make sure that you whisk it vigorously, but don't over mix it. Just get everything thoroughly combined and then stop once everything is combined. You don't want too much gluten development in this recipe because you want this cake to be nice, light, and fluffy. Now that those egg whites have been whipped to a decent consistency, we're going to start adding in our sugar. Slowly stream in 1/4 cup worth of sugar to this so you don't break the meringue. And just keep whipping it until you get those medium peaks. Those peaks are a little bit too soft, so we're going to let it go for another 30 seconds or so. This is just about ready though. And that's what we're looking for. It doesn't flop down immediately, but there is a little bit of give. Now to fold this together, you want to be careful not to break the meringue and get rid of any of that air. So you're going to gently fold in 1/3 to temper, or yeah, I guess temper would be the right word. It's mainly used when you're making custards or ice creams or puddings. You would temper egg yolks so that they don't scramble when you're combining it with a hot liquid. It's to keep everything at the same temperature, but same concept. You want to keep everything at the same consistency. So you're going to add in 1/3 and then the remaining 2/3 of those egg whites to your initial cake batter. And once that's all nice and combined, scrape the sides down of that bowl and get it into your prepared 13x9 Pyrex. Smooth out any edges, get it all nice and pretty, and we're going to drop it into a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes, or until the top is nice and golden brown and the cake is cooked through. You could, in theory, overcook this cake. It'll still come out amazing, but it's not going to be as moist and as succulent. But in my experiences, whenever I have overcooked the cake, I've always built cakes on top of it. So like a 2-tier Tres Leches cake rather than just like a single sheet. What I just made was the actual soaking milk, which would be, in this case, it would be a can of coconut milk, a can of sweetened condensed milk, and a can of evaporated milk with a hit of vanilla extract. And we just whip that all together and get it nice. Now the whipped cream I'm looking for, it's not really like a real stiff whipped cream that you get out of a can. It's more along the consistency of like a Cool Whip. So yeah, the whipped cream is going to be a pint of heavy cream, about a quarter cup to a half cup worth of powdered sugar, and teaspoon and a half to 2 teaspoons worth of vanilla extract. And what I'm doing with that soaking liquid is I'm just throwing it into the fridge so it's as cold as possible by the time that it's ready to go into the cake. Honorable taste test for the whipped cream. Tastes pretty good, and now I gotta let the wife taste it. She's always super thrilled whenever I make whipped cream because she gets to have the bowl, but as you can see, the dog wants a puppuccino himself, so he's gonna get some too. And don't worry, I wash this. I don't let him clean it and then just put it back in the drawer. Nah, I make sure to wash everything. You know, and he's begging for more being a brat, but whatever. So it's been 30 minutes. The cake is done. I'm just going to test it with a toothpick to make sure it comes out dry. Top is nice and golden brown, and it has a little bit of a dome to it. But that's not really going to matter once we take it out because we're going to let it cool for 15 minutes. And after that, we're going to separate it from the pan and then flip it over. And the reason we flip it over is the top developed a nice crust on it, and we want that to be on the bottom so that the soaking liquid has a little bit of a platform, if you will, like a good structure, rather, a good foundation. That's the better term. But as you can see, I mean, like the whole Pam and flour idea was pretty bad. I'm not 100% mad at it because this cake did turn out really good, and the bottom of this cake is very porous. So it's going to absorb a ton, but I am also going to be, poking this with a fork just to create as many spaces as possible for that soaking liquid to absorb. Once that's done, pour it all over the top. And as I was actually pouring this in, I could see it absorbing into the cake, which is, super satisfying. All that liquid pretty much absorbs into the cake, and you're left with like a tiny, tiny bit, just on the bottom of the pan, which is fine, I always like my tres leches to be a little bit more on the moister side. Yeah, this cake was really, really good. I did get some Baker's sweetened coconut flakes to throw on the top of it, but before I could actually get that footage, my camera died, so I kind of lost that. But yeah, just dollop the whipped cream on top. Make sure you spread it out into every corner of that pan. And the technique that I used to really make sure that coconut stuck was I created little ridges like so in the whipped cream. It has just more little areas for the coconut to stick, and I mean that's it. I hope you guys like this recipe. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share. It's super appreciated, and enjoy. Make this for Christmas. Have fun.